I won't be here tomorrow. My name is. It doesn't matter though. I'll be gone tomorrow. I made this decision not in a hurry, not in anger, but after much thought. It would seem that I was trying to live. I did everything I could to create a chance for myself, to feel a part of something bigger for once, but now I realize that I no longer have the strength. I've always been the quiet one, the invisible one, the guy they look at school and think, hey, what's his name? But they don't even try to remember. I never had any real friends, the ones who I could text at any time, who would call me for a walk or just to be around me. I learned from an early age to be a loner. Homework at home, video games at night, and emptiness in my soul. When my high school years were behind me, I decided enough was enough. No more wasting my life. I'm going to live for real. And that's when I chose Australia. In the sunny expanses, green parks and beaches, I saw an opportunity for a new life. I thought a change of scenery would help me make a fresh start. I knew it would be difficult, but I had a plan. I would get a job, keep fit, start going to clubs, social clubs, sign up for dating sites, and become active in my local communities. Like a hero in a video game, I decided to pump up my character, to become better, more confident, more interesting. And in the beginning everything really went according to plan. I managed to rent a small, cozy apartment, get a job, where although I did not make friends with colleagues, but got along well with them. I joined a gym, started participating in local events, looking for new acquaintances. But nothing was working. People came and went. We chatted, pretended to be friends, but as soon as the conversation ended, everyone forgot I existed. I joined circles, but I always felt like an outsider. Dating. Each new date brought more and more disappointment. People seemed superficial and I seemed invisible. My confidence was evaporating. Every night I'd come home and think, what's wrong with me? I looked in the mirror and didn't see someone to love in the reflection. It's been 2 years. During that time I tried everything in my power, but the loneliness was stronger. Every day I lost more and more interest in life. Walks became torture. I saw happy people, groups of friends, couples in love, children laughing with their parents. They were all living, enjoying life, while I felt more and more like an extra in this celebration. Soon I stopped going out. All I did was lie in bed, stare at the ceiling and feel a heaviness building up inside me. I started gaining weight, stopped watching myself, stopped even trying. Each new day was exactly the same as the previous one. One day I woke up and realized that this wasn't life. It was existence, meaningless, empty. I waited for something to change, but for a miracle to happen, you have to want it. And I didn't want it anymore. Today was the last day. I spent it calmly, without tears or rage. I just woke up, made myself breakfast, watched a TV show, then walked around the room looking at pictures, things, books I never read. I wrote this letter so that you who read it will know that I tried. Perhaps you will understand, perhaps you will judge, but it was important for me to say it. Next time you see someone who seems lonely, don't walk by. Ask how they are doing. Sometimes one simple hello can be a lifesaver for someone. And for me, it's too late. I can't do this anymore. Maybe in my next life I can be someone else. Someone they love, someone they want to be around. Please take care of yourself. Reddit user writes, I'm 23, and I feel like I've missed out on the best years of my life. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a slow-motion version of life, where the world around me is moving too fast and I'm standing still. The last 5 years have passed like a blur, and this feeling of timelessness has haunted me since I graduated high school. Things were different in high school. I had friends, quite a large group. We spent time together, joked around, made plans for the future. I had good grades, not perfect, but above average, and I thought I had a chance to go to a prestigious university. My future seemed predictable and encouraging. But it all came crashing down the moment I failed the national entrance exam. I didn't just fail to get into my dream university. I didn't get into any of the universities I applied to. I felt cheated and broken. All my friends had gone ahead. Medical universities, engineering faculties, prestigious programs abroad. And I stayed in my hometown, empty and unneeded. Their successes were a reminder of my defeat. They were starting new lives, sharing their successes, and I was the guy who does nothing. Gradually, we stopped communicating. I was sure they were looking at me with pity or contempt. Even my attempts to maintain contact made me feel uncomfortable. For me and, it seemed to me, for them. As they moved on, I got stuck. I took a job at a warehouse that paid minimum wage. But even that was hard work. I worked overtime, hardly any rest, but the feeling of job satisfaction never came. Colleagues were polite, but that was it. I didn't make any new friends, and the old ones were a thing of the past. When I turned 20, life hit harder. My mom got seriously ill. I quit my job to be by her side in the hospital until her condition stabilized. She survived, but the effects were irreversible. She is now disabled and can no longer work. Our financial problems have worsened. We've never been a wealthy family. My father is a garbage man who works all his life to keep us afloat. We barely have enough money for the bare necessities. I tried to find a new path, something I could do that would give me purpose. But everything I took on ended in failure. Studying didn't seem attainable anymore. I used to be good at math, I used to compete in competitions, I used to know 4 languages, but now even just focusing on reading a textbook has become an ordeal. I feel stupid, like I can't think anymore. Everything is jumbled up in my head. My memory doesn't hold the information. I wonder if I have undiagnosed problems like autism or ADHD. Socializing with people has become torture. Every conversation feels artificial and every social interaction feels like a huge effort. Over the past 5 years, I have become almost completely withdrawn, spending most of my time at home. I know that comparisons are the worst thing to make, but it's happening beyond my will. My former classmates are already getting master's degrees, building careers, starting families. And me, I'm living with my parents, with no prospects and seemingly no hope. I tried to look for new ways. For example, I thought about working in construction. They say you can make good money there. But even here I faced reality. I'm only 5 feet 4 inches tall and weigh 115 pounds. I just wasn't physically ready for this kind of work. Colleagues were annoyed, angry, and I realized it wasn't for me. The army, like in the US, isn't here. It could be a way out, but even that door is closed. Sometimes I think my mind works too slowly for the world. I have a driver's license, but the very thought of driving terrifies me. Everything happens too fast and I just don't have time to react. And now I'm 23. I look at my life and think it's over, even though it hasn't even started. I see people my age building a future, reaching goals, and I'm still in the same place I was 5 years ago. It's especially bittersweet because as a kid, I believed I had potential. I was the one who excelled academically, who was told by my parents, "You have a great future." But now even the simplest tasks seem impossible. I don't know if there's a way out of this hole. All I'd like to do is find something to inspire me, something to make me feel alive again. But every year it gets harder and harder to do that. I just had to write this. Maybe someone will read it and understand. Maybe someone will say that all is not lost. Or maybe it's just a way to talk myself out of it, to make it feel better for a little while. Because honestly, I don't believe I can change my life anymore.
Reddit user writes, I was about 14 when I first overstepped my principles and did something I'm still ashamed of to this day. My parents were always strict. This applied to everything. My friends, the time I could spend outside of the house, and of course, my phone usage. Conversations were limited to a couple minutes, and if I went over the limit, the discipline lectures would begin. One day I broke the rules and they caught me and took away my phone. At first it seemed like the end of the world. I hated being out of touch with my friends. I felt isolated and alone. After a few agonizing months, they gave me my phone back, but the joy didn't last long. My older sister got involved. One evening she accused me of stealing her charger. It wasn't true, but my parents believed her and the phone disappeared again. On top of that, they punished me. No leaving the room except for homework, eating, or going to the bathroom. This injustice burned inside me. Then one day at school, I noticed a girl in my class had her phone peeking out of her pocket. It was like something switched in my head. It was an impulse I couldn't contain. While no one was looking, I pulled it out and hid it in my inside pocket. I asked to go outside to the restroom to see if there was a passcode on the phone. To my disappointment, it was locked. I put the matter to rest then, hiding the phone until the evening. When I got home, I quietly took it out of my pocket and started using it as if it belonged to me. It was a strange feeling, elation and fear at the same time. I watched YouTube, messaged on messengers, and felt free until one day I made a mistake. I fell asleep with my phone in my hand. My mom came into the room to say goodnight to me and saw it. She woke me up asking me where I got the phone. I lied, saying that a friend gave it to me when she bought a new one. My mom didn't say a word, just took the phone and walked out. A few days passed, and I thought that was the end of the story. But one day my mom asked me to get something out of her bag, and I saw the phone. At that moment, my reflex kicked in. I took it out and hid it back in my room. After that, I used the phone carefully for a few weeks until my parents returned my own. The stolen phone became unnecessary. To avoid thinking about it, I hid it behind my bed and forgot about it. But 4 months later, I came across it again. I was punished for being stupid. I accidentally burned my neck while curling my hair, and my parents thought it was a hickey. They again took away my phone, my TV, anything that distracted me in any way from my boredom. In desperation, I decided to clean up my room and discovered the stolen phone. I knew it was wrong. Every time I turned it on, that guilt whispered in my head, but I couldn't stop. The phone became my secret, my way of taking a break from the strict rules. When my parents returned my phone, I finally decided to get rid of what I had stolen. I took out the trash and just threw it in the container, closing that episode of my life. Now, years later, I realize how far away it was from my own values. I'm 21, living with my boyfriend, and we're expecting a baby. Sometimes I think of that moment as something that helped me understand myself. If I could go back to that time, I would stop myself. It was wrong, I knew it even then. But my teenage sense of injustice and desire for freedom was stronger. Telling this story now, I am relieved. It still lingers inside me, but now maybe I can finally let go of it.
Subscribe to the channel to find out more interesting things.